up, everyone? Another episode of Breaking and Entering Podcast with you. I'm Ed. That is Fuck KC. Excuse me. That is Brandon. And how you doing today, man?
I'm here, man. I'm like a lot of these Ravens fans. We're a little salty right now, but we're gonna get over it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it too.
All right, let's get to this opening drive. A lot of offensive coordinator moves in the NFL since the last time we saw each other. The Eagles, they've hired Kellen Moore to lead their offense in 2024. Joe Brady, it looks like he's going to return to Buffalo as their offensive coordinator next season. He replaced Ken Dorsey in the middle of last season. Speaking of Ken Dorsey, he's headed to Cleveland to coach their offense over there with the Browns. Ben Johnson, he informed the Commanders and Seahawks today, and I guess anybody else that was vying for his services, that he's staying put in Detroit as their offensive coordinator. And Arthur Smith, he's headed to Pittsburgh to be their offensive coordinator. He's replacing Matt Canada, who was fired after the halfway point of the season there, and my arch rival Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, everyone. Before we move to these championship games, let's look at something here. This episode is brought to you here by Premium CBD Health and Wellness Company. Check out their line of CBD-infused products, which are a perfect after-workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD-infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures and mint and personal natural flavors. They are veteran, women, and minority-owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is www.premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, PREHEMIUM.com. Now back to our show. Say it ain't so. Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl for the fourth time in 5 seasons after a big win in Baltimore and Charm City on Sunday. I'm going to be perfectly honest with y'all. When I saw that Arthur Millette was getting harassed by the Kansas City, by like 12 of their players in pregame, and then I saw that Justin Tucker had some pregame argument. Well, you could kind of say it was an argument, mishap with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, and then they got the kickoff and they deferred it to us. I figured it was going to be a long day for us. It just was stacking up to that. They came out with that long drive to take the lead. They just bullied us after we went 3 and out basically on that first drive. We scored a short time after that. They had that brief, was that administrative timeout for the drone?
Yeah.
It was in the stadium. Okay. But yeah, we needed a 4th down heroic play on that drive just to keep it going, because other than that, we was going to be probably shut out in that first half. But from there on, they just dominated us from there on out, offensively, defensively, and time of possession. I mean, just kicked us in all 3 of those categories there. We had way too many stupid-ass bonehead penalties. The Kyle Van Noy headbutt, you and I were texting back and forth. Kelce was smiling like he got a kick out of that. It didn't faze him not one bit, because they know that they feed off that stuff. That's how they beat teams. They get them, and they beat you by you beating yourself. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City still does stuff offensively and defensively, but they're like New England. They take advantage of those situations. Zay Flowers later in the game, standing over top of the defender, Ladarius Sneed, after that monster catch and run. It's like, come on, rookie. I mentioned that heading in the divisional round. Play your game. Him and OBJ, I was worried about them heading to the playoffs as far as their emotions, because I know they're going to come make plays, but their emotions, are you going to be able to contain yourself? And sure enough, he did all right in the divisional round, got to that championship round, just make a bonehead play like that, and then a couple plays later, you fumble heading into the end zone when you really didn't even have to dive in the way that you did. We was going to get the ball in the end zone on that drive. I was 100% believe we was going to get in there. Those type of penalties like that is how we beat ourselves. We had a game similar like this early in the season. I can't remember who it was against, but I know Justin Madubuike got a bunch of personal fouls in that game. Like, I was ready to get rid of him before he turned it on and started sacking everybody and went on to lead our team in sacks. And we just hadn't been playing like that. But to get to the AFC Championship and have those 5 15-yard penalties we had. We had a couple false starts on offense, led by John Simpson. He had himself a long day. But we were getting to Patrick Mahomes, but he's just such a magician that every time we got around him, damn near he got rid of the ball. It just was like a split second too late. He's somebody you got to get to him and get him to the ground. We just could not do that. Offensively, it was bad when Lamar Jackson was the second leading receiver in the first half. I mean, we saw that big catch where like he popped it up in the air and caught it himself, but he was literally the second leading receiver. Like, come on now. They blitzed the hell out of us and they were successful with it. That's something we've struggled against. That's something that he's struggled against. So all around a piss poor performance for us to lose the first AFC Championship game in our home turf against the Chiefs of all teams. It definitely sucks. It's like a knife going into my back right now. But couple things. 6 points heading into the offseason. I hope we don't lose our defensive line coach, Anthony Weaver. I know he was a coaching candidate interview for y'all, I think, or somebody y'all was interested in. Try to resign OBJ, in my opinion. He kind of had a ghost game early on. He did come out in the second half, started making a couple plays. I remember texting you like, where the hell is OBJ? The first time I saw him was when he was massaging his leg on the sideline. So I think his game overall this year, he's played decent, and he's definitely helped LJ. Re-signed Justin Madubuike. If I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent. He was a personal foul machine, like I mentioned early in the season. He got a bunch of personal fouls, but then he turned it on to lead our team in sacks, so we got to bring him back. John Simpson, like I mentioned a moment ago, he's got to go. He's my guy that's got to go. I usually always have one. He's my guy this year. He has not been good as of late, especially in this game. Stanley is a wild card as well. He's always injured. Former commander Moses, I can't think of his first name.
Morgan Moses, yeah.
And Kevin Zeitler, they've been steady, but they're both getting up in age, so I think it's time to reshuffle this offensive line, get some young guys in there. We got Lindenbaum holding down the center. I think that Falele, he was a late round pick in last year's draft. I think he can be a starter next year. He's played well when he had to come in. Patrick McCarry has played every position on the offensive line, so I just think it's time to get some youth in there. And hopefully it works out in those terms. Defensively, I think we have to draft a corner high. We're pretty much set on every other side of the ball, pending free agency and who might leave. But I think we're pretty set. Marlon Humphrey he's a good corner, but he does concern me. Like a couple weeks ago, he was almost my offensive player of the week. Like, yeah. So, and then number 6, Nelson Aguilar, he can go after Sunday's game as well. He started to look like he did in Philadelphia. When they was talking about him on the news, saying that the guy caught the baby out the fire, and that Nelson would have dropped the baby on the ground. That's how he was in Philadelphia before he left. But yeah, he played all right this season, but as of late he let us down too. But yeah, just a tough game, a tough loss. I mentioned the penalties. The poor offensive output. Besides Zay Flowers out there, nobody was really making any plays offensively. They abandoned the run.
I said don't run to it. I said that.
I think we could have definitely made some more of a game, I think, if we had ran the ball a little bit more. But yeah. What are your thoughts on this one?
No, you hit the nail right on the head, man. The penalties, y'all had 8 penalties. I texted you this as well, and you said it during the show, but it's definitely the Ravens beat themselves. I think you guys beat yourselves more than the Chiefs beat y'all, because a lot of those penalties were momentum killers. That one with Kyle Van Noy, it was going to be like a 2nd and 12, 2nd and long, because it was I think it was like a screenplay or something. There was an incompletion on, or something happened but they was going to be 2nd and long, and when I'm watching that play unfold, where I can't remember if it was Patrick Green or Roquan Smith was getting into it, Travis Kelce at first, and I'm like, the play's over. It's like 5-10 seconds over, and then here comes Kyle Van Noy. I'm like, go back to the huddle. What are y'all doing? And I see the flag come. I was like, I already know it's gonna be on the Ravens. I was like, what are y'all doing? And I can't remember if you mentioned this, but the Clowney what was it, roughing the
Oh,
passer
yeah,
where
roughing
he
passer. Yeah,
hit Mahomes with his helmet. It's just like,
yeah,
come on, guys, what are y'all doing? And then Zay Flowers, man, that was a killer. Not just
definitely
the taunting penalty, but that fumble was
the
definitely a
fumble.
killer. Like you
Yeah,
said, he did not need to do that. I was we were talking. What was I watching? Undisputed. I think Richard Sherman or Keyshawn, one of those guys is like, only time you ever dive for the end zone if it's 4th and goal or 4th down. Otherwise, you don't really need to dive for the end zone. Like,
yep.
come on, man. Is from that point, second half, y'all were playing hero ball, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Y'all were trying to make one big play. The play calling, Todd Monken, he was catching some heat from media for me as well, because I'm not sure with the play calling. You got 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, and you trying to hit Odell or one of the receivers on a like a out play. Odell only had 3 catches for like 22 yards. His first catch was like the third
In the
quarter. And he was
second
like,
half. Yeah,
he catches the ball. He's like, finally. I'm like, Odell can do this all game long. He can, a little slant or a little curl, something 5-10 yards. He can work him in that range. Why are y'all trying to get him on a deep ball 20 yards
mm-hmm.
downfield when, no offense to Lamar, we know he's not the best deep ball thrower as far as accuracy. You can get it down there. You can throw the ball 80 yards in the air, probably something like that. Because he got an arm, but his accuracy deep is not the best. As you saw during the game, all his receivers that he would hit deep were, except for that one Zay Flowers, that was a great play. But most of his rest of his passes went deep, were over the receiver's head by a good 3, 4, 5 yards. Man, I don't
Yeah,
get it. Shannon Sharp, he also made a good point. He said he thought Lamar was trying to prove the doubters wrong with standing in the pocket and try to pass the ball. Do what got you there. Do what got you there. Run. You
do,
had
do what you got to do to win.
8 carries for 54 yards. You got, if he run it 4 or 5 more yards or 4 or 5 more times, he probably could have picked up a first down, got y'all on a 2nd and 3rd and manageable. The play
Yep.
calling was weird. Y'all were running on 1st down, get a yard, running on 2nd down, and then y'all getting the 3rd and long, these 3rd and passing down situations. I mean, can we
Mm-hmm.
get a play action to start, or can we start it
Yeah,
off with a wide receiver screen, which the Chiefs were hitting y'all with all damn game? It was
yeah,
just very frustrating to watch. Zay Flowers says the fumbles behind him. That's good, because I feel like that's going to haunt him for a while. Even though he says it, I think he's going to have this offseason is going to be a long one for him.
oh
I'm
yeah,
sure he can't wait for the next season to start. I think he'll rebound. I think he'll be good for y'all, but that was just a killer game, man. I call it crashing out. This is a mental meltdown, letdown. Same with Lamar, man. You see, everybody was talking about it. I see Isaiah like he put his hand up, but you can see he's covered, right? Two triple covered, double covered, triple covered by the time the ball
exactly.
got in the air. I mean, come on, guys.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask you this. Stephen A. I was watching the first take. You said it right. You said Stephen A was gonna get in Lamar Jackson
Mm-hmm.
ass. And he was basically like, he doesn't know if Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl. I was like, damn. I kind of feel him, because games like this, man, is like the lights got too bright for guys. And just under pressure, they just folded both sides of the ball. Even the coaching, just a bunch of head scratching. Very frustrating to watch. On the Chiefs side of the ball, I mean, they did what they had to do. Them first 2 drives, I was scared. I was like, damn, these motherfuckers are just moving the ball downfield at will.
Yep.
Y'all couldn't do nothing
About that.
about it.
Yep.
But eventually that defense tightened up. Second half, y'all didn't allow any points, but it just wasn't enough. Unfortunately, your offense couldn't get it going. They couldn't find a rhythm, basically, either
Yep.
through they couldn't get back on the field, or just bonehead mental mistakes caused y'all the game, man. It was very frustrating to watch as a guy who wanted the Ravens to get it done and get to that Super Bowl again. So,
Yep.
yeah, man, that was a tough one. I feel for the Ravens fans out there. But yeah, let's get to this other game though. I know Lions fans they probably feel worse than the Ravens fans. 24-7 at a halftime, and they blew it. The Lion, I think I predicted the score too. I want to say I got the score right. I want to say I had 34-31, but I think I did have the Lions winning. But yeah, 49ers come back 34-31. Brock Purdy, his stats don't look too great, but when he needed to make a play, either with his arm or his leg, he made a play. He had a couple of scrambles where he got first downs, were huge for his team. Surprised me a little bit. He got a little bit of speed on him. He was able to get out the pocket, get down the field, and was moving a little bit too. So great game for the Niners. at first I thought, oh, Lions got this in the bag, but Dan Campbell's catching some heat. Josh Reynolds, you are I don't know if you'll be back to Lions because you had some crucial drops. I want to say both of the fourth down drops are on you. I know you probably want to get out of Detroit as fast as you can for the offseason, rest of the season, because I'm sure those fans are pissed at you. And then Jared Goff is not catching a lot of heat. I think he should be catching more heat. You can say, oh, well, the drops, his receivers didn't help him out, but he did have Gibbs open. He missed him on a touchdown throw. He just didn't have him. And there was a 4th and 8 where I know he's getting pressured, but the pass he made, I think it was to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think this was in a fourth quarter, 4th and 8, and this wasn't a good ball. I know he's getting pressure, but Jared Goff didn't have his best game in my opinion. The drops were huge, but at the same time, Jared Goff wasn't the greatest, and I had a feeling. I said I couldn't trust him. He was proving me wrong in that first half. That second half, when the Niners were able to contain a run, I think that fumble by Gibbs had a lot to do with them not running the ball as much because I thought they should have still kept running the ball, but the Lions weren't able to run the ball anymore. Then Dan Campbell, really aggressive. I guess a lot of people question those 4th down calls as far as should they kick the ball or should they go for it? He went for it. They were drops, but at the same time, I always like taking the points when you got the chance. He took the points before the half ended with the field goal. I feel like kick another field goal. Maybe not both of those 4th down conversions. Go from one of them, but I just feel like you're a little too over aggressive. I mean, I don't know, man. Tough loss for the Lions, but the 49ers, they did the job. Deebo Samuel, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I texted you this during the game. I don't think you were able to watch a lot of this game, but
Yep.
CJ Gardner-Johnson, he got himself a passing or a personal foul because he gave Deebo Samuel a cheap shot on the interception, I believe. And but Deebo Samuel got the last laugh. I remember seeing on Twitter, or now it's known as X, somebody was asking, somebody check on CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Deebo Samuel was like, yeah, somebody check on little bro. So yeah, he got the laugh last of that one. But what did you think of this game, man?
Yeah, you hit just about everything on the hit. Nail this one as well. Hit on the nail. Tail 2 halves. I didn't see much of this one. It was mainly the second quarter is what I saw. But what I did notice, the Lions came out. They were playing more physical. They were playing more fast in their first half. Seemed like their game plan was to run the ball down the throats of that San Fran defense. 24-7 at half, as you mentioned. Then came the second half out of the third quarter. 4 scoring drives of more than 50 yards or plus for the home team. Purdy really started to get all his guys involved more. And, of course, CMC, like he is in every game, he was a problem for that Detroit defense down the stretch. Like you mentioned, Deebo Samuel, I think he did get the last laugh as well. I agree. He had himself a decent game against CJ. And I'm going to talk about CJ. I'll talk about him a little bit more in the offseason. But Dan Campbell, like you mentioned, catching some flack with decision making. I know I saw something today that his players came to his defense. So they say, and said they agreed with all the calls and stuff like that because they're going to say the right stuff to the media. I mean, right now it's decision making time. You don't know who's going to be back next year. You don't want to put those comments out if you're going to hit free agency, all that stuff. So of course you're going to back your team, back your coach, whatever. But yeah, he's just one of those guys that's not afraid to go for it on 4th down. He's not afraid to make those gutsy calls like that. Just this time it came back to bite him. As to where most of this season it hadn't. But Detroit, though, I got to give, shout out to them. Played a good game for being underdogs in a very tough environment. It's very tough to play out there at Levi Stadium. Those fans are very into their team there at Santa Clara. But I think they'll continue to make some noise in the future. Shout out to the 49ers, though, for a big comeback win. I'm glad somebody can come back on Sunday because we did.
And shout out Chase Young. You got your granted a Super Bowl chance, so good luck to you. Maybe you'll get some of that former Washington player luck, and your team will win a game, and maybe you'll get a sack. He didn't have any sacks this game, but he was on the stat sheet. He had a few tackles as well. So yeah, shout out to Chase Young, man. I'll be watching you in the Super Bowl.
Oh, my bad. Okay, let's go to player awards. I'm not paying attention. I'm going to start with the offensive player of the week. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. He did it against my boys. The Magician, Vintage Mahomes, Started like 11 for 11. I remember texting you saying he's got a record. He was like, "What is that?" Set the damn record for most completions to start a conference championship game on us
Mm.
against a defense like I don't mind defenses setting records against my offense because I know for several years my offense has been bad until LJ came. A little bit of the Flacco era, we was all right. And to set records on my defense, it burns me up. We have Ray Lewis in the house, Ed Reed, Sizzle,
Hmm.
come on, man. And we go out there and let this guy just go all over our defense. He went on to finish 30 for 39, 241, and a touchdown. Honestly, felt like more than that. The way they were just picking apart our defense, especially in that first half. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's my offensive player of the week. What about you?
Before I give mine, you just reminded me of that one play. I'm sure you remember it where he was. It felt like he was in the pocket, scrambling around, extending the play for like 10 seconds, and he found
Mhm.
Kelsey. It was like
Yep.
a 3rd and 5 in the first half. I was just like, oh my God, when that happened.
Tell
But
me
yeah,
about
that's
it.
definitely a good pick for player of the week. I'm gonna give it to CMC, Christian McCaffrey, 20 carries for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 receptions for 42 yards. So I'm gonna give it to Christian McCaffrey for my offensive player of the week. Who you got for
Okay.
defense?
Defense, I'm going to go with George Kaloftis. I'm going to keep it with the Chiefs
Mm,
on offense and defense. I've been talking about this guy for the past couple of weeks. Him and Chris Jones are tandem from hell, honestly. Um, he didn't have the best game, but he had 4 tackles, a tackle for a loss, quarterback hit, and a sack. It seemed like every play, when it was as far as the pass rush goes, it was either him or Chris Jones who was in the face of Lamar. So yeah, George Karlaftis, and an honorable mention, as I mentioned, Chris Jones, because he definitely had 2 back-to-back plays there. I think it was in the second quarter, and I was like, "CJ's alive. Here he come. It's about to be a long day." So yeah, George Karlaftis is my defensive player of the week. What about you?
Mine, I'm gonna give it to another San Fran player, Nick Bosa. He had 2 sacks in the game. A lot of pressures getting to Jared Goff. So yeah, my defensive player is Nick Bosa.
Okay, special teams. I'm gonna kick it. Excuse me. I'm gonna keep it with one of my guys, Jordan Stout, in a losing effort. He had 5 punts for 251 yards. He was quite busy on Sunday. He's not usually that
Yeah.
busy, but the Kansas City defense just came in there and beat the hell out of us. So um, luckily, we did have him that did help slightly. 3 of those punts were inside the Kansas City 20, so I can't complain about that. Jordan Stout, my second-year punter.
Yeah, my special teamer, I gotta give it to the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Bucker. He had that one 52-yard field goal. It was rainy out there. Sure, the weather conditions weren't great, but he nailed it. I was like, if he misses this, y'all still, got a good chance. I
Yep,
mean, y'all still had a good chance even after he made it, but I feel like that kick was definitely a momentum builder for the Chiefs that helped them out as well. So I gotta give it to Harrison Bucker.
for sure. And we're probably both on the same uh, decision on this bonehead player call of the week. The Zay Flowers fumble, coupled with his personal foul 2 plays earlier. Um, he would have almost redeemed himself if he didn't fumble in the end zone, because technically we would have scored and it would have been a touchdown. It would have been closer. But um, again, he goes in there and dives when he didn't really need to, and the ball wasn't secured. And you got to know um, those type of plays as a wide receiver. Those DBs are coming in trying to get rid of the ball, especially when the momentum's already on their side. They're trying to take the life out of that stadium. They're trying to take the life out of the team, and they're trying to secure that win. Um, and as a rookie, again, I mentioned it in the divisional ahead of the divisional round when we had that first round bye. Zay
Mhm.
Flowers, play with a level head. What I'm saying, he don't seem like one of those people that's what kind of threw me off when he did that standing over the defender. Um, he wasn't like that during the regular season, and he just let his emotions get the best of him, and then the fumble just made it 3 times worse. So yeah, we're probably on the same page. What's your bonehead player called?
I'm gonna expand it a little bit. I gotta give it to the entire Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry, bro, but it's just
I
too
understand.
many penalties. I mean, both sides of the ball made mistakes. Kyle Van Noy, he really pissed me off with his. I'm
As
like,
a
dude, what are you
veteran,
doing? You texted me exactly as a veteran, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, come on, you've been in Super Bowls before. You with the Patriots, the Patriot way, and
Yeah,
all this
the
crap,
Patriots.
and you just lose your damn mind because Travis Kelce played Jedi mind tricks on y'all. That's basically what he did.
Yeah,
Got y'all out of your bag and tricked you. And then the clowny thing, him bumping Mahomes with his helmet. I mean, we can say that the refs were bad if we want to. I don't know. You could say that there maybe been some taunting calls that Travis Kelce would have got because he was egging people on. I don't know, but at
yeah,
the same time, it's the conference championship game. Y'all playing for the Super Bowl. Y'all can't keep y'all emotions in check. I mean,
yeah,
I sent you that video of Kelsey moving Justin Tucker's of the football and the placeholder or whatever it's called out the way, moving out the way. I'm sure that rubbed the players the wrong way. It was like, God damn, like
yeah.
this dude got y'all that mad where y'all can't even control yourselves and
Mhm.
play football. Y'all gotta. This is I don't even want to think about it. I'm even making myself upset just thinking about it. But yeah, so I'm sorry, I gotta give the whole Baltimore Ravens bonehead team of the week. How about that? Yeah, man.
Yeah, this game
It
from
was
a
just bad.
penalty standpoint, you good?
Yeah.
Yeah, this game from a penalty standpoint reminded me of one of Billick's last games coaching. I've mentioned it before. We played down in
Mm.
Tennessee. It was raining. We were still in high school then. It was 2006, 2007, something like that. And we were pretty good favorites heading into that game and just got down there and kept getting personal fouls, kept getting penalties, and ended up setting a franchise record for penalties in the game. It was bad. Like Terrell Suggs, I don't know if you remember this. The ref threw a flag and Terrell Suggs picked it up and threw it. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like it was one of those type of games on Sunday where we just idiotic plays just kept racking up. So
That does sound familiar because I probably gave you some shit about
yeah,
it
you
the
did.
next day.
Yeah,
I definitely probably
it was a
did.
long Sunday on that one. It was a long Sunday a couple days ago too.
Yeah, man. But like I say, as a commander saying, there's always next year. So
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you guys will retool, get another good pick in the draft, and be back at it again next year. But yeah, this one's definitely going to sting. I'm sure Lamar is kicking himself over this. He'll remember this for a while. This might be his worst loss of his career that he'll
yeah.
say. Same
And
for Zay Flowers.
this roster was better than the 2019 team where we was killing everybody during the regular season. Um, we put up a lot more points in that season, but our defense was a lot better this season.
Y'all
And to
defense was a lot
yeah,
better. Sorry, y'all defense was a lot
hmm
better, and y'all were beating good teams. Y'all were blowing good teams out. Y'all weren't just beating them, but y'all were, beating by 7 or more, maybe more points. So yeah, definitely thought it was a year, but going up against Mahomes,
yeah,
honestly, I just want to say this about Mahomes. If y'all don't make it back next year, I kind of want to see Mahomes win 4 in a row. I want to see another dynasty. I'm sorry, I know you know how it is. Teams start winning again. They're like the new Patriots now, but I
yeah.
do like Mahomes. So I kind of do want. If y'all don't make it back, because I like y'all, I like Lamar Jackson a lot. But if y'all don't make it back, if it's Mahomes again, I kind of do want to see him win like 3, 4 in a row. I know you don't like that, but hey, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I don't, and you could tell by my name that I typed in there and everything, and I've been vocal on social media and stuff. But I got to give respect where respect's due. This Kansas City team, defensively, they're a whole different animal this year than any other defense that they've had under Mahomes. And then to think, excuse me, that even going back to last year, you get rid of probably your second best offensive playmaker, um, um, skill position in Tyreek Hill. You go win the Super Bowl. You come out this year, your offensive coordinator leaves. Andy takes over the plays. You got receivers dropping balls left and right. Um, you lose to the Raiders, and I think the Broncos beat them this year as well, which hasn't happened in years. Like they bullied the AFC West for years, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go into Buffalo and they're like, okay, well, this is going to be the first time that Kansas City has to play on the road. This might be the time that they lose. This might be the time where the dynasty or the pre-dynasty ends and they go in there and dominate Buffalo. Then they come into Baltimore. When we had all the momentum, we was favorites in first championship game in the Ravens history and stuff. And they come in there and dominate us. I got to give credit where credit's due to Andy. Um, even even Kelsey, his gameplay on the field was one thing, But to get into the minds of our players from the
Mm-hmm.
start, that also impacted it too, like you mentioned. Little stuff like that. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is a magician. Pacheco, he made some big plays against us. The defense, again, their defense was playing well. It was just, I got to give credit when credit's due. Unfortunately, I hate to see him in another Super Bowl, but um, they definitely go down as one of the greatest teams and greatest quarterback, coach, tight end, combinations, and even individually to
Oh
ever
yeah,
be in the NFL.
yeah. Mahomes is already in
Oh yeah,
my top three greatest quarterbacks of all time. He keeps winning Super Bowls. It's him and Brady going to have a. It's definitely going
yeah,
to be a bigger debate for sure.
yeah,
But all right, everyone. Super Bowl. We got the Chiefs and the 49ers in Vegas. I wonder how much tickets cost. I'm only about 4 hours away from Vegas, but I'm sure them tickets are
yeah.
a nice, pretty penny. But we will definitely keep you updated on news ahead of the Super Bowl, and we'll give you a preview show coming up here next. But until then, everybody, like, comment, subscribe to the B&E Podcast on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, formerly or X, formerly known as Twitter as well. And y'all stay safe out there, everybody.